everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we're going to show you all the tips and tricks on how you can use weapons professionally in Military Tycoon, whatever it's called, I forgot. To start it off, I don't want to use the first floor. I would never use the first floor. I would mainly only use the armor if I just rebirthed. These, however, if you have them, tell me in the comments. I never use them, since I don't have them, of course. Secondly, I don't use these two except this one, which is in my main. So anything else, I would mostly just use this set of armor, and then I wouldn't use anything else. AK is pretty good sometimes, but all in all, it wouldn't be that good. That's why the first two floors aren't really that much of tips and tricks. But the second floor, however, somewhat, I forgot to mention this, is the fact, copy this equipment, but this one's really good as close and touchy combat. This one you want to use, definitely, 100%. Of course, you would want to rock this. Don't really use this or that. Of course, I would use a katana since it's actually a really good weapon and really close and touchy combat. And then that's my equipment for the Barrett. Let me just still pick it up. This is it for the M2. And then this is it for the AUG. You can copy those. I really don't care if you do. Now, if you have any suggestions about how to use better equipment that you can use, leave them down in the comments. I want to know. And then I'm starting to shift my way away from that. I'm starting to shift away from that weapon, from the RPG. So I'm now gonna grab the flamethrower. And then all in all, there really is no tips and tricks. They're just standard weapons. Let me get up here, please. How are the third floor? Or not the third floor, the basement is a pretty good section for tips. So night vision I would mostly recommend if your monitor is just really dark. Even then, but all in all, it's just really hard to see. Smoke bomb is, however, it's really good, though I never used it. Flare gun, it's not that good. It's mostly a 50-50 chance of what happens to you. Road spikes and C4. If you use these clever, you can actually get them really good. An example for the C4 is that, let's say that there's people camping my base. This happens a lot. I would just go, and boom. And vehicles, they're pretty simple. Anti-air tank, I never use. Fighter jet, I use. Warplane, I barely use. Warplane's actually really good as it has an air, basically just detect system. Fighter jet, I already covered that. Bomber, it's a pretty good one if you don't have any other vehicles. Airplane and two-seater, you could only really use this if you need to go place to place. And then Spitfire, it's just a good one compared to the bomber, because the bomber is a bomb one, and then the Spitfire is a shooting one with bullets. Now, ground vehicles, I'll cover the air ones up there. ATV, I would only recommend as a starter until you get a better one. Armor, snowmobile, and snowmobile wouldn't really recommend unless you just need to go somewhere fast. And then armor jeep, don't really use. Truck, don't use. And then artillery, it's a pretty good one, mostly just the fact that there's missile. Tank, the pros is that it's very bulky, and then it takes a lot to kill it, and then it has a pretty good damage. But the sad part is that it's really slow and just hard to aim, in my opinion. APC and Humvee are really good at just a player friendly with friends. helicopter, and then use this one if you want to use whatever that vehicle is called. And then over here, we got warship, really good for mostly just water combat. Submarine. Water's just not that deep. Speedboat, wouldn't use. Gunboat, wouldn't use. Jet ski, and destroyer, just the warship is better. But in my opinion, the best water vehicle is this, because it goes on land and water, as it says, hovercraft. Now we're coming on at the end with the last 4 vehicles. Now it really depends on how you like your vehicle. Oh my god, my ear. So if you want a destroyer, which is quick and fast, you're gonna be more vulnerable. Or do you want a battleship that is sort of slow, but it's strong and deals massive damage? And then these 2, missile truck I don't really use. You can use it if you want to. I just don't really use ground vehicles because, in my opinion, there's just way better vehicles. And then 24, this one is just a better tank in my opinion. It's faster. You don't have to pay money for it. And the reload speed should be shorter. And then the last vehicle is going to be the B-17. Now the B-17 is good for reasons and good for bad reasons. And mostly the bad reason is that it's just not that, I don't know, I just don't really use. I mean, it's a good vehicle. It has bombs. And it's all in all very good vehicle. It's just that it costs a lot of parts because Military Tycoon is starting to shift over more to, like, you have to spend money to get this part, and then money to get this part, and then etc, etc. It's all in all, like, it's shifting over to that, and it's not a bad thing. So, as we glance over our final days, hopefully this can help you, as I didn't really do any tips and tricks. It was just a showcase mostly. But I did give some advice for one of the most underused weapons. So, say goodbye, and have a nice day.